each hour of the weekend to help you fulfill your fiery destiny. In the joy of our original love, then, we sing to the great central sun. I would like to show you some beautiful pictures of you and your twin flame so that you can see we are talking about the spiritual sun behind the sun, beyond all galaxies, beyond all being, is that original fiery ovoid. Gustave Doré portrayed this in his pictures of Dante and Beatrice. Here they are in the sixth heaven being instructed by angels of light. His visualization of the central sun is so magnificent that I trust it will awaken in you the sense of a cosmic beginning and the realization that in every plane, God has clothed himself in form and in personification. These are solar rings of fiery seraphim who are holding the sacred fire for the balance of your life and this planet and all systems of worlds. Here you can see outer rings of that great central sun witnessed by you and your twin flame. This is what you have known in the beginning and what is locked in the great storehouse of your memory. Once again, solar rings, tier upon tier, denoting that light accelerates, intensifies back to the beginning. We cannot go straight to this central sun because we would be consumed by it. So we must go there in spirals of initiation and gentle acceleration from these dense bodies back to our original form. So here is you and your twin flame surveying that central sun, the point of your origin, and you see the multiplicity of the manifestation of God. So we sing number 4 to the great central sun, and this is an invocation and a hymn. The science of alchemy is really the science of the priesthood of the order of Melchizedek. It requires the mastery of both science and religion. And the first art you learn in alchemy is the art of invocation. I'm going to offer an invocation to call forth the light of the sun presence of you and your twin flame. Accept it if you will, and send back the love in the hymn of praise, thereby completing the arc. The light descends, and we ascend back and make a perfect circle. Beloved, mighty I am, presence of all life. In the name I am that I am, I invoke the sun behind the sun of our twin flames. O fiery ovoid, release now thy inner being unto us. O Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending of our manifestation. We are the sons and daughters of God upon earth, on the homeward way, internalizing the light. Let thy love and thy freedom and thy wisdom descend into our hearts, that we might know the way and thy science, and now affirm it for the goodness of all, for the resolution of earth's problems, for the balancing of personal and planetary karma. O God, hear our call. We salute thy light, and we accept it done this hour in full power. Amen. Thank you. Won't you be seated? This is the sign of the V. By this sign you and your twin flame conquer. The one side of the V is the descent into form. The other side is the ascent back to the formless and to the fiery realm of spirit. We are dealing with a spirit matter cosmos, and I am grateful to be here in San Francisco with you to speak about Saint Germain's coming revolution in higher consciousness. I'm grateful to be able to tell you about the alchemy of the last days. Peter envisioned it, seeing that the elements would melt with a fervent heat. Many expect world cataclysm, but they look beyond the immediate personal cataclysm that is coming upon so many people in this hour. The signs of the last plagues poured out of the vials of the 7 angels are upon us, and the 4 horsemen are riding in the earth. After the coming of the 4 horsemen, there is a prophecy concerning the sealing of the servants of God in their foreheads. I would like to read it to you. Saint Germain has sent me for this sealing of your third eye, which is the interpretation of this portion of the book of Revelation chapter 7. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. These 4 angels are the signs of the ancient alchemists: fire, air, water, and earth. They are the sign of the base of the pyramid in matter, from which the alchemist, you, must rise. Spiral upon spiral. It is more than making bricks without straw, this alchemy, for all you have is your spiritual material endowment, a mighty flame in your heart, an abiding presence of light. Alchemy is a sacred science that teaches us how to access the light that is above us, sealed until we have the sacred formula. All of the teaching of Saint Germain, who is that 7th angel who comes. And when he begins to sound, it is written, the mystery of God should be finished. Saint Germain is sounding as never before. He is delivering to us the knowledge of the 7th age and the 7th ray and the violet flame. He is finishing the mystery of God and preparing the way for the everlasting gospel brought by that angel in heaven in the 14th chapter. We have all that we are. Naked we came into the world, and naked we shall return. We have the accumulation of previous embodiments of attainment, spiral upon spiral of rings of light. But this personification here below must externalize the inner word, the sound, and the ancient momentum. Some people like to think about how great they were in their past lives. It doesn't make one whit of a difference unless you possess the key, the alchemical key, to draw forth the light from your inner spiritual or causal body. And so in these last times, there is an intensification and acceleration. Stress increases because karma is returning through those vials of the 7 plagues. Planetary karma is due. It is the end of Pisces. We begin Aquarius. The 4 horsemen are harbingers, again, of personal and planetary karma. They are the sign to us not of an inevitable, predestined, or foreordained calamity. They are signs that we must turn to the inner light to understand the real teachings of Jesus Christ that have not been preserved for us, to know that he was the great alchemist of Pisces and intended us to become as he is and as he was. These signs are a warning that says, if you do not cease in your pleasure cult of materialism, in your politicking, in your division, you will find that the coming of this world karma will be a devastation in the earth and in your temple. But if you go within and discover the great central sun of your being, call it forth daily, let your temple become a pillar of fire in the temple of my God in the whole matter cosmos, and you see yourself as an instrument, an electrode of light, just as we see these angels. They are electrodes of light, step-down transformers. As we go farther and farther from the central sun, the manifestation of God is decelerating, and all of a sudden you realize you've made a transition from the spirit to the matter cosmos. In reality, they are one and everywhere together. The message of the coming revolution in higher consciousness is that what you have inside of you, the light and the presence of God, when properly invoked, released, and directed through your 7 chakras, can turn the tide of world cataclysm. The same type of cataclysm that caused the sinking of Lemuria off these shores, the sinking of Atlantis. This cataclysm is due and overdue. Only the light bearers of the world uniting in the light and putting aside their differences for the sake of the rescue of a planet and a people can make the difference in the age. It is not too late, but the hour is extremely late. And we must come to the realization that we have a mission with our twin flames, and each day and every day it is to hold the balance of a planet in great distress by the invocation and direction of light through the science of alchemy. So after the coming of the 4 horsemen, there are 4 angels, and they hold the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Now the matter of controlling natural forces, fire, air, water, and earth, and the spirits of nature is what we will take up tomorrow morning in the creation of the cloud. It comes in Saint Germain's 2nd book of alchemy, and we will go through the steps that he teaches for the drawing of a cloud around your aura. This is how the great adepts have disappeared from the midst of the people. It is recorded that Jesus did this. This is a very important science for you to understand. And that is why we have 7 sessions, 7 steps to the precipitation of light from the 7 planes of heaven in your 7 chakras. I hope you will realize this is the most important weekend you could ever spend for your entrance into the new age in fulfillment of your fiery destiny. This evening, our purpose then is to lay the foundation for the dedication of the temple, the laboratory of the alchemist, and the clearing of the chakras, introducing the violet flame, and finally sealing the 3rd eye with an emerald matrix that is a physical emerald that Saint Germain has given to me to transfer that light to the 3rd eye. Now here is the promise of that event. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, "Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads." And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Now those 4 angels show their adeptship over the forces of nature, to release world karma or to withhold it, in answer to the call of that one being of light who said, "Stay the hand of planetary cataclysm until the servants of God are sealed." The 144,000 is an alchemical number It speaks of archetypes, of the Christed ones, but it also speaks of the reincarnation of the seed of light. 12 tribes indicating 12 groups who descended from the central sun under the 12 hierarchies of our cosmic clock, which we will be teaching you tomorrow afternoon. Predicting your future with the cosmic clock. Now, these 12 groups of souls came for the mastery of what has come down to us and is known as the 12 signs of the zodiac. But those signs are really configurations of cosmic beings, initiators of souls, and they represent the 12 gates to the temple, the 12 gates to the holy city, which are 12 initiations. By passing one, we may enter, but if we would stand in the center of the central sun, we must pass through all of those 12. So lifetime after lifetime, our twin flames embody mastering each of those 12 lines or 12 hierarchies of the sun. We live in an age then when our karma, that is negative, is due, but at the same time, all of the positive karma, all of the momentum of attainment and light and good and self-mastery you have gained is also available for the defeating or the riding, the putting under you of the negatives. It is a tremendous moment in our history. Many of us have waited tens of thousands of years for the turning of this age to the seventh age, when the violet flame would become the universal agent of alchemy to our evolutions of this planetary home. The sealing then of the third eye is the sign of the sealing of the 7 chakras and the 4 lower bodies. I'm going to give you this evening an outline which Saint Germain gives in his Studies in Alchemy, Book 1. This is our handbook for the weekend course. It does contain books 1 and 2, which are also published in this form, a third book on a trilogy of the threefold flame, and a fourth book on the alchemy of the word. If you read this book between sessions as I teach it to you, you will have a greater advantage than if you don't. If you count the words one can say in a minute and in the hours, there's only so much that I can transfer, and I would like to give more. I will have the opportunity to give more than this weekend in our 5-day 4th of July conference at Camelot in Malibu, to which I invite you. So I would suggest that this be your handbook. And now what I'm going to do is move on with the dedication and the clearing of the temple. The temple we wear is not simply the physical. We have 4 lower bodies: a mental body, the cognitive mind; an etheric body, which is the memory, the divine memory, as well as the subconscious human memory; the emotional or the desire body; and the physical. And they represent fire, air, water, and earth. The highest vibrating body that you have is the etheric body. This is the body that is the garment of the soul. When you travel out of the body while you sleep at night, you travel in the etheric body to the etheric octave. We remember the twin flames in the 6th heaven we saw in the Doré slide. We travel then to octaves of light, retreats of the masters, where we study. We are all seekers because we want to bring down into the mental body, into our physical awareness, what we have in the higher planes of our being. We are all divine beings, all manifestations of God at inner levels. But the proportion of that light that we manifest depends on what we know, what we come in contact with, the techniques that we pursue. Now, these 4 lower bodies are beset by debris. Debris of pollution physically, The astral or desire body of the planet, for the planet has the 4 lower bodies also, contains the records of the collective unconscious of the race and all of the vibrations that are being broadcast from every person on earth daily and hourly. So we're swimming in an astral sea of vibrations that are lower than the light we desire to be. The mind is polluted by the bombardment of media, programming, prejudices, and the etheric body contains a memory on the lower side, in the subconscious, of all of our past lives and karma, and on the high side, in our higher consciousness, of previous golden ages and of our experience in the central sun. So the clearing of the debris of the centuries of the past is the first step of the alchemist. Saint Germain explains this in a very first chapter, which he calls the law of transfer of energy. This is the very beginning of your understanding the secrets of the abundant life, which you may wish to call prosperity, the least of which may be money, but it also includes every physical need. Abundance to me is light in all of the 7 centers, abundance of wisdom and self-awareness. Saint Germain says the law of transfer of energy is vital to the science of alchemy, for without it, it is impossible to create matter. The transfer of energy implies one person to another, or master to disciple. Saint Germain opens his course with the example of Christ walking upon the waters of the Sea of Galilee. He says that his demonstration was a manifestation of the natural law of levitation, operating within an energy framework of cohesion, adhesion, and magnetism, the very principles which make orbital flight possible. He says that the light atoms composing the body of Christ absorbed at will, at the will of the Master Jesus, an additional quantity of cosmic rays and spiritual substance whose kinship to physical light made his whole body light, thereby making it as easy for him to walk upon the sea as upon dry land. His body was purely a ray of light shining upon the waters, and the most dazzling conception of all was his ability to transfer this authority over energy through Peter, through the power of Peter's own vision of the Christ. The vision of Christ must be through the third eye chakra. So the master transfers to the disciple the light of his adeptship before the disciple has the attainment. All of the alchemists that have gone before through the ages have recognized this chain of being of the master-disciple relationship. For every endeavor in which you desire to engage, there is someone that you go to as a teacher, a professional, a master, someone who knows more than you. If you are a seeker for knowledge, you're always looking for the one who knows more than you do. It is a natural relationship in society. We all have something to impart to those who come to us if we prepare ourselves, and we are looking for those by whose skills and development we can benefit. So Peter received the transfer of light, but what happened? He took his eyes temporarily from the Christ. He entered a human fear vibration and vortex, which immediately densified his body, causing it to sink partially beneath the raging seas. The comforting hand of Christ, extended in pure love, reunited the alchemical tie, and the flow of spiritual energy through his hand raised Peter once again to safety. Now, this is the very first page of Saint Germain's teaching on alchemy. Now, the transfer of energy comes to you from your real self and your divine self. The question is, Can you hold on to it? Can you retain the light that may be given you by someone in embodiment or by your own inner Christ? That is the challenge of the alchemist. Not merely to find the avatar of the age, if there is one, not merely to find the master and say, I will obey you, do all things for me. That is not the path of the seventh age. The seventh age is your internalization of that master. You become the manifestation of the divine guru. I am here as the messenger of your higher self to reawaken your memory of these laws so that you may become independent under your own vine and fig tree, as Jeremiah prophesied, so that you might forge your union and maintain it. Another example of the law of transfer of energy was the transfer of light to the woman who had an issue of blood 12 years. She touched the hem of Jesus' garment, and instantly she was healed. By her faith, she believed, and her belief, her faith, created a complete circle in the aura, a one-pointedness of the all-seeing eye. She had the vision of Christ, never strayed from it, never doubted. Now, in this age, that woman of the faith of Pisces, must become the scientist, the alchemist in Aquarius. Now she must understand that she must become that Christ, internalize the light, and be prepared to transfer that energy to others. Freely have ye received, freely give. Saint Germain says that the inner meaning of alchemy is simply all composition, implying the relation of the all of the creation to the parts which compose it. Now, if you can have this in mind, the all of the creation beginning with the central sun, the parts which compose it, yourself and every atom of you, and you may hold the vision as well as the scientific awareness that you are never separated from the all, you can see that that opens the channels of light, and you are filled with the all. This is a daily exercise that comes through illumination and direct knowledge. It comes through the invocation of the violet flame. When properly understood, alchemy deals with the conscious power of controlling mutations and transmutations within matter and energy, and even within life itself. It is the science of the mystic, and it is the fort of the self-realized man, who, having sought, has found himself to be one with God, and is willing to play his part. The question is, are you willing to play your part in 1986 and for the balance of the century? Are you really willing to play your part to magnetize the light of the central sun and be of supreme usefulness to your family, your city, your nation, your planet, and your universe? That is the reason for which Saint Germain comes. He says you should become familiar at inner levels with the all-chemistry of God and how each facet of creation is brought into manifestation in matter, in your consciousness and in your daily life. Without the understanding of the transfer of energy, it is impossible to create matter. Now I'd like to take you through some very important information involving that point. This is a diagram of your central sun. It shows the 7 planes of heaven, 7 spheres of concentric light. This is the storehouse in heaven of which Jesus spoke when he told you to lay up treasure in heaven. This is where there is stored the record of good works, deeds, actions, and words. In other words, positive karma. We all begin with this sphere of light. We are created equal. Each side of the whole, each twin flame comes forth from the fiery ovoid to manifest that sphere. From that moment, based on free will, we decide what we create, for we are born to be co-creators with God. And therefore, we are never more equal. Some of us add to the different color rings according to our pursuit of areas of endeavor and self-mastery coming under the 7 rays. Out of this central sun, this is a diagram of the spiritual sun behind the sun, the original word that is spoken brings forth the matter universe. The opening verses of the Gospel of John are almost a direct quote of the ancient texts of Hinduism. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and without the Word was not anything made that was made. So the spoken word becomes the key to creation. Elohim said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Elohim is a plural noun for God, and it is written throughout the scriptures as the word God. It means the divine us, Elohim, male and female. They created the sons and daughters of God in the matter form. The sounding of the Om in the beginning must also be sounded in the ending. Everything that God created in the beginning for us, we must recreate in the ending. It is the Alpha, the Omega. The thrust of the creation going forth is the Alpha. The return is the Omega. We are on the return of the V. We have descended, hopefully, to the lowest level we will ever descend in physical matter. We would not want to be any more dense or any less alive in light than we are now. So we have reached the bottom of the V, and it takes a tremendous effort and a will and especially a vision to climb back the other side, because in so doing, you must trace every single step of your karma, of your going forth. The story of the Garden of Eden is the story of twin flames who left off their teacher, who was the cosmic Christ, who would initiate them. And they followed after fallen angels who were the false gurus, called serpents. Serpents is the name of a band of fallen angels, and the name serpent comes from the term the serpentine force, or the kundalini force that rises upon the altar. They had the mastery of the kundalini, and they misused it to turn away the twin flames of God and to imprison us in these matter spheres. We have followed them in religion, in politics, in economics, in education. They have an answer for everything in every field of human endeavor. They are the false gurus with their false systems, which always program us away from the central sun and to attachment to the earthy. So if we are here in the physical universe together, we all can touch each other, see each other, have an empirical awareness that we are here. The fact that we are here means that this level of consciousness strayed from the level of the inner God. Descending to this point, then, we must learn how to extricate ourselves from the patterns we have woven through the misuse of the science of alchemy. It can be done, and it doesn't take millions of years. It's the twinkling of the eye of God. God has a secret, and his secret is that all of his kingdom is locked inside of you. You can restore that light by following the mystery that is revealed by Saint Germain and by Jesus. This is the ascended Master, Jesus Christ. You have all seen him in this mode at inner levels. He appears to different people in different guises, but you will be very familiar with this face of the Master. You may call to him when you lay down your body to go to sleep at night, Ask him to bring his angels to take you to the retreat where we study, which is called the Royal Teton Retreat. It is the great retreat of the North American continent, where the Ascended Masters teach their disciples out of the body to prepare them for the lowering of that teaching into manifestation. Saint Germain then comes to show and make practical the demonstrations of Jesus Christ. The seventh age is the age of how-to. It's the do-it-yourself age. The great avatars of the past have displayed their mastery, but the keys as to how you and I could get to it were sealed in the mystery schools with initiations so arduous that few ever arrived. Today, this teaching is yours for the applying and for the taking. The seventh age is when the sponsorship of these two masters gives to us our opportunity to become anointed ones, anointed by the inner light. The meaning of Christ is the one anointed. Your inner real self is the anointed one. You must discover that self. This chart of your reality shows you that you are really a trinity in manifestation. You are the lower figure in the chart. Your temple is the temple of the Holy Ghost. The violet flame in that temple is actually the baptism of sacred fire, prophesied by John the Baptist. We are waiting for that baptism. We must invoke it. It is ours for the call. Your real self, the anointed one, is the middle figure in the chart. This is the only begotten Son of God, individualized for every one of his sons and daughters. The only begotten Son of God is the universal Christ, who was embodied in Christ Jesus. Jesus called himself the Son of Man. He was the son of the manifestation of the central sun, the lower figure in the chart. By his adeptship, he also internalized the word of the I am that I am and of that universal Christ. So the three in one in the Master Jesus Christ were all as one person, not three but one. And so he also recognized his disciples calling him the Son of God, the Christ who should come into this world. The Son of Man is you right now. You are the Son of Man. This is your day of decision to determine that through the laws of alchemy, the sacred science, you will internalize that word or externalize the real self who is above you. The great joyous teaching of the universal age is that each one of us has a holy Christ self above us, just as it is depicted in the chart. This holy Christ self is your guru, your teacher, your master, who speaks to you as the voice of conscience, the inner voice and the guide. Sometimes we go astray because we mistake the voice of those fallen angels in embodiment, the false gurus, who tell us to go here or go there. Or the momentum of our karma dulls our spiritual senses, or our own carnal mind, or the anti-self. And therefore, the Ascended Masters support us and teach us and lead us until we are truly so one with that inner Christ that we no longer need an external teacher. The upper figure in the chart is the person of the Father, the I am that I am who appeared to Moses out of the burning bush. Moses said, "What is thy name?" The answer came, "I am who I am. I am that I am. I will be who I will be." This I am presence was declaring to Moses, "You cannot confine me by a name. I will reveal myself in your life in the course of events. Watch me in the moving stream of history. Watch as I go before you, and understand me by my actions, by my words, and by my deeds." Now there is power in the name I am that I am, because it is the verb to be. And God said to Moses, "This is my name forever, and my memorial to all generations." That means it is a memory for you and for me. We are the generations of the light bearers in the earth. And yet the name is taken from us, and the Hebrew syllables of this name and the verb to be are Yud, He, Vav, He. Now, where this name should be written in the Bible, they have written capital letters signifying initials, L-O-R-D. You will find them capitalized in the Old Testament. They are a placeholder for the name I am that I am, or the one we call the mighty or the almighty I am presence. It was determined somewhere along the way by the priests that this name was too sacred and could not be recited by the common people. Therefore, they lost the name and the power of the sacred name, and they began to say Lord instead. This is the age of the return to that power. The upper figure in the chart is your I am presence. It is an individualized manifestation of the Father. So this is your Trinity of Father, Son, and you, the alchemist, the temple of the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit signifies the energy of the sacred fire, which by free will you call into action. The goal of your life is to put on the mantle or the aura of that Christ, to walk the earth as an anointed light bearer, and ultimately to be the embodiment of your Lord, as Jesus said to Mary Magdalene, of your God and my God. The individualization of the God flame where you are and where I am is the fundamental mystery revealed that resolves the problems of orthodoxy, of doctrine and dogma. God is not outside of you. This chart, about which we have written many, many chapters in our books, illustrates this mystery of the kingdom of God within you. That is the foundation of your alchemy. Now we speak of revolutionaries of the spirit, east and west. This is Gautama Buddha. He lived 5 centuries before Jesus Christ. When Jesus was between the age of 13 and 14, he left with a caravan of merchants and went east. My book on the lost years of Jesus documents the finding of Buddhist historians' texts preserved in the monastery in Ladakh called Immerse. I received written communication from that monastery in the past year confirming that those documents are still there. The book contains the first-hand testimony of eyewitnesses who went to the monastery, 3 of whom had the text translated. The book contains the texts. Jesus spent 17 years in the Far East and returned at the age of 29 to begin his mission, where he was baptized of John in Jordan. He went there as a teenager on the quest of the sacred science, mastering the teachings of all ages. He taught, he healed, he rebuked the decadence of the major world religions into which they had fallen, always the same. The original light bearer comes, gives a teaching for all. A priesthood arises and says, the unwashed masses may not have it. We will guard the secrets. And therefore, the people are not given the true religious texts. We find in the discoveries at Nag Hammadi that the whole series of writings by the early Gnostics were entirely excluded from the canon of the 4 Gospels and the New Testament. They present the inner mysteries of Christ's teachings, a very exciting path that we all must become acquainted with. Much of what Christ is quoted as saying in these Gnostic Gospels that were deliberately excluded from the New Testament is exactly what I am teaching you here. This teaching is very ancient. I knew this teaching before I read the Dead Sea Scrolls. Here is the confirmation of the mysteries of God that Jesus brought back, gave to his disciples, and which are our inheritance. Gautama Buddha then, and those who followed him in the lineage of the Buddhas, Buddha meaning the enlightened one, the one in whom the crown chakra is budding and opening, the one who has universal awareness. This is also the goal of mastery of you and your twin flame. The parallels of Christ and Buddha, their paths, are very close. They are like the East and the West, or the yin and the yang of the sacred science. Now they came to access the light of spirit of the central sun, this great cosmic computer of the mind of God, if you will, but we have lost the key of how to bring it forth. This is Maitreya, the coming Buddha who is come. Both Gautama Buddha and Maitreya are ascended masters. They teach their disciples at inner levels, at the Royal Teton Retreat, and in their dictations which they give.
Well, are you ready to learn more about alchemy? Do you think it's an important thing to do? Yes. So we're going to do that in a little bit. We're going to come back at 3:25. 3:25, so we're going to take a break and continue our study. There's lots to learn, and also to realize that it's a step-by-step process. So we'll see you back at 3:25. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a good little break. I'm going to continue on with our discussion on alchemy. I wish we had this whole seminar that was given. I know that you're thinking, well, I wish I was going to hear that whole thing, but this is a conference that we are including teachings on alchemy, and what I have to say is we'll have to have a course on alchemy for you using Saint Germain's book. So a little bit about myself. I found the teachings in 1980 in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I was so excited. I could have just, jumped to the moon practically, and I went down to our headquarters in Camelot and in Los Angeles, and I went to my first conference, and I got there the first day. I thought the first day, and it was Keepers of the Flame Day, and so you had to become a Keeper of the Flame to be able to attend. So I said, okay, here, I'll become a Keeper of the Flame. So I signed up, and I guess the rest is history. And in 1989, I moved here. I felt the call of Saint Germain to come and to work here as a staff member. And again, I left my life behind. Thomas and I were talking about that the other day. When you feel the call, you feel the call. Whether it's the call to come to the conference here, yeah, that's a calling, isn't it? And, we have our callings in life, maybe more than one, because we have more than one lifetime in one lifetime, I think. So I came here, and in 1990, I met my husband, and we've been married. And so we live in Bozeman, but I also work here, and I have a little room, and I'm here during the week in my little room. It's not too little. But anyway, so last Friday, I woke up earlier than I wanted to. For some reason, I forgot to turn the ringer off on my phone. Have you ever done that? The phone goes off and you wake up. Oh my goodness, this is too early. Then what did I do? I opened my phone and I started looking at the news. So what did I see? I saw, oh my goodness, the war is raging in Ukraine. They're trying to negotiate peace in Israel. This is a week ago, but there's still threats of bombing each other. And then there's speculation about the gunman. There's a second gunman that killed Charlie Kirk. Or, there's plastics in the food. And even my carrots in my garden that I grow so carefully are getting microplastics in them, okay? So I'm going, oh my goodness, this is terrible. Close this up. So then what did I do? I picked up this book, Saint Germain on Alchemy. So I was preparing for today. And I started reading about the Maltese cross, and I went, you know what? This is more important than the news. This is what's really happening on this planet. This is what's really going to make a difference. And this is what has been making a difference since 1986 when we heard that lecture. Because that was when we were in the midst of the returning karma of 25,800 years that had to be expiated, transmuted before 2002. I'm not sure if we did do all of that expiation. I think we're still having a little spillover of it. But at any rate, we're here. And she talked about Saint Germain saying that there would be cataclysm. Well, we haven't had cataclysm. We haven't had that world war yet. We're kind of in this transition of ages. So realizing that where we are right now is we're moving into this new age. And what happens when you move into a new age, there is kind of like this transition. It's almost like more like a collision of ages. Because you think about what happened with Jesus. Jesus came, what did they do? They crucified him, right? The religious leaders of the day basically were threatened by him, and his teachings were lost. They were there initially, but they were lost, and we didn't have the full flowering of his teachings. And so we hear from Saint Germain, who was actually the father of Jesus as Saint Joseph. Did you know that? Yeah, you did. Some are no, some are yes here. Anyway, so he was the father of Jesus, which is very interesting. He was the father of the Christ. Okay, so now here we are. And what Saint Germain saw he told us in a dictation in 1982, entitled The Alchemy of Worlds. He saw that what happened at the time of Jesus was there was a thrust of light. At every beginning of an age, there's a thrust of light for that age, okay? So there's ages every 2,000 years. We were in the age of Pisces, we're going into the age of Aquarius, and Elizabeth Clare Prophet spoke of that. So what he said was that this light went forth from Jesus and was rejected. In the first 1,000 years, mankind suffered a long, dark night when they should have spent 1,000 years assimilating the word and becoming all that he was. Dissension, division, and denial created, therefore, a meager thrust for the fulfillment of the age of Pisces. So Saint Germain says that he was burdened by this denouement. It's a very interesting word. You know, he was Shakespeare. Denouement is the name at the end of a play. It's whatever happens. It's kind of the outcome of a play. So the outcome of this was not good. So what does Saint Germain do? Because Saint Germain knows he's now going to be the teacher, the hierarch, the avatar for Aquarius. So he's got 2,000 years from Pisces to Aquarius. He's going, I don't want the same thing to happen again that happened when Jesus was here, right? So he says, he's burdened by this denouement, he says, and he goes before the lords of karma and asks if he could attempt to right the course of men. He actually says this in this dictation, right the course of, in 1982. And he says, how is he going to do it? Through the science of alchemy, through God government, through the scientific method, you know, and he was involved in this. He was Francis Bacon and the other Bacon, Roger Bacon, thank you. Inventions in medicine and every branch of science. Okay, we've seen that happen. And in the last century, the greatest thing, the violet flame. The violet flame, that's been the best of all. So why do I bring this up? Because those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. True? We can learn from history like never before because we have the internet, we have everything that we can study, and we have the Ascender Master's teachings. So we're standing at this point and we have this choice. And I think the choice has been made by many, and that's why we are moving into this age of enlightenment. We have a great awakening that we see happening, that people are making this choice. But they don't all have all of the understanding of alchemy and who they really are that we do, and the science of the spoken word. And so that's what I'm here to talk to you about today, is to bring into your understanding what is alchemy. How do you practice alchemy in a day-to-day? I mean, I thought it was done in laboratories. I thought that, you know, I had to have all these lovely vials and different things and put them together and, you know, make gold out of metal, right? Maybe we were alchemists in another life, I don't know, doing that. But the alchemy that we're called to do now with Saint Germain, now remember he came for those, is to be our own alchemist and our own laboratory of being at the altar of our heart. And that's what I'm here to talk about. Alchemy is consciously controlling and changing matter into another form. What's this? Matter. What other form can we change it into? Well, we can change it into an illumined being, right? An illumined totally, as she said, that Christ is within us, the kingdom of God is within us. We can make sure that this matter can house the kingdom of God. That's what alchemy is about. That's what Saint Germain wants us to do. Because you know what? We're all unconscious alchemists. Now, this is very interesting because this dictation was May 1986 in Portland, Oregon. That was about a week or two before the lecture you just heard. Saint Germain came to Portland, dear old Portland, which is very strife-riven right now, because he saw that there was an ancient karma there. And he delivered this dictation, and he delivered a dispensation of the Maltese Cross, which we're going to talk about later. But what was so interesting was he said that those in embodiment must take accountability for planet Earth as their alchemical experiment. Okay? This is our alchemical experiment. There is, now the quote you can see, I'm not quite there yet. There is no division in the ecosystem, as you call it. I think people are realizing that right now by their concern about the environment and all of that. But there's more to the environment than climate change. Okay, there's the environment of people's minds and emotions. So, and feelings and acts and deeds. There is no division in the ecosystem, as you call it. Quote, your thought, mind you, impresses itself on every grain of sand. No wonder the planet is burdened. An unconscious use of alchemy has put the planet out of kilter, to use an expression, with the cosmic blueprint. Unconscious alchemy has put the planet out of kilter with its cosmic blueprint. Could we say that? Unconscious alchemy has put me out of kilter with my cosmic blueprint? Probably, right? Are we totally in line with our cosmic blueprint? Well, I think if we were, we wouldn't be here. We'd be ascended masters, right? So today I want to bring you some principles. By the way, these slides are in there. You can find them in your handbook. I don't remember the page number, but so you could take note right beside the slides if you like. So I have a formula here. It's an alchemical formula for self-transformation or self-mastery, you might say. And Saint Germain says in his book, which I'm going to hold up again because I love this book. It's not easy to understand, but you have to really get into the mode and the mind and the mind. I think it was written in the language of the 17th century or something, but what do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. Joseph thinks so. So this is a formula for self-transformation or self-mastery. Saint Germain says in his book, the key to alchemy that must precede the acquisition of all other keys is the mastery of yourself to a greater or lesser degree. It's good he says lesser in there, doesn't it? Because we're getting greater, but we might be lesser, right? We all start out like that. So the messenger added this, the mastery begins with the heart, the 12 petals of the heart. It's the center of love. Isn't that true? Love is really the key. So there's 4 parts to this formula. 1, and this was touched upon and actually emphasized by the messenger, you are a divine being and a co-creator with God. You have access, the next one is, you have access to the limitless light of cosmos. Saint Germain said that. You have access to the limitless light of cosmos, but how do you access it? The light has 12 essential God qualities. There are special sacred formulas, practices, and rituals you use to access and direct the light for alchemical change in yourself and the world. Okay? So we're going to go through these. And you're going to get to realize that this is not that difficult. It's not difficult at all because it's really inside of you. It is you. The kingdom of God is within you. So here we have the first one. You are a divine being and co-creator with God. So we have 3 frequencies. We have 7, there are 7 frequencies that the messenger talked about. The 7 frequencies I'm going to talk about are the 3 higher frequencies or levels of being, which are the I Am Presence, the Holy Christ Self, and the lower figure. So the I Am Presence corresponds to the Father and to the energy of power. Holy Christ Self is the Son Presence, the center figure, corresponding to the wisdom frequency. And the lower figure is the Holy Spirit, corresponding to the love frequency. the 4 lower frequencies that you have, I'm saying frequencies because there's no division in the ecosystems. There's no division. So the lower frequencies that we have start with the etheric or a fire body. So if you look at the lower figure, we have 4 bodies. She mentioned the 4 lower bodies. You have your etheric body, your mental body, your emotional body, and finally your physical body right here, where you are sitting here in your homes here in El Morris Chapel. And so you see, what do you see? Only 1/7 of you is sitting in that I can see right now. I just don't have those kind of X-ray eyes. 1/7 of you. The rest of you, so there's more than meets the eye. There's much more to you. Is it all integrated? Are you integrated, totally integrated with all of these beings? Are the 4 lower bodies the vessels, the full purified vessels to hold all that light? That's what alchemy is all about. Alchemy is about working this within this laboratory of your being to make it fully receiving the light and realizing you're a co-creator with God. I think that's really important. Being a what does it say in the Bible? To be fruitful and multiply? And take dominion over the earth, be fruitful and multiply. Why did God say that? Because he's delegating. He delegates. He's a delegator. He was delegating his power and authority to whom? You and you and you, his sons and daughters, just like any parent. He wants his kids to grow up and to be part of his creation and creating. We're not just little robots. We have free will, and we can choose to do what we will with that energy. So you see also the threefold flame and that lower figure, very hard to see. We're going to talk about it. And this is the flame that is what is real about you, and it actually the integrating piece of all of it. So you are a son or daughter of God, and you saw the altar of being, and upon that altar, we have an altar, I was going to say, upon the altar in your heart is a threefold flame. The word altar means to change. Okay? So we go before the altar in the heart for change. Because I think we all realize that there's some change needed. I would say, we are a work in progress. and so we're always in the act of perfecting ourselves and being able to be better co-creators with God. So God, the great alchemist, made us in his image and likeness, and this is the picture of us. So we do have something that I want to introduce you to, which is a magnificent descent of light. This is a prayer that Saint Germain gave us. It actually brings a wall of light 9 feet in diameter. It's a great tool for us to protect ourselves. It creates this, just as a castle has a wall, right? We need to have this protection around us. And it's very simple to call forth. It's our first defense. It's a sealing of our own alchemical laboratory. This tube of light is called forth through giving a mantra, or decree, prayer. We'll call it a decree because we're decreeing it. I'm decreeing this. And what's going to happen is when you decree it, your I am presence is going to put down around you a great cylinder 9 feet in diameter. Now, if you see this chart, it looks a little different than the other one, doesn't it? That's because the lower figure is a Buddhist sitting in a kneeling position, and the middle figure is a Buddha. So I wanted to say before we start that these principles are universal, that they go across all religions, and they work no matter who you are, okay? we honor the truths of all the world's religions. So I'd like to give this tube of light with you so that you can experience this. Now, the central figure that you see is the I am that I am. When you say I am, you're saying God in me is. I am that I am. God in me is above that which is below. So when you say, beloved, I am presence bright, your I am presence is going, it's like the genie. What can I give you? Round me seal your tube of light. So we are now exercising our authority as sons and daughters of God to be co-creators, to create this tube of light. Okay? This is so important to have your tube of light on, because we walk around in the cities of the world in a lot of energy. Everybody else's thoughts and feelings. So every day you want to put on your tube of light in the morning, and you might put it on at noon, you might put it at night, depending on if it's staying strong. So let's stand. We always stand for the tube of light. And hopefully you can see those words. Can you see them okay? We're going to give it one time with full, and we give this with the word. We speak it out loud. We want to make sure that, well, actually, it's not that our presence doesn't hear us. It's because words change our vibrations. They create vibrations. They bring forth the light. So let's do this. Beloved, I am presence bright. Round me seal your tube of light. From ascended master flame, call forth now in God's own name. Let it keep my temple free from all discord sent to me. I am calling forth violet fire to blaze and transmute all desire, keeping on in freedom's name till I am one with the violet flame. Wonderful. Please be seated. So that's the tube of light. So the next principle is you have access to the limitless light of cosmos. So now we've sealed ourselves in the tube of light. So we're protected, we're sealed from intruders who would take our light. And you can see here this amazing figure, this amazing picture. How much energy do you think is in the great central sun, which is the hub of the universe, where our Father, Mother, God resides? How much energy is there? A limitless amount. That's right. That's right. So this is the substance of bliss. What is bliss made of, right? It's all love. It's all power, all wisdom. It's what the world is seeking. And there's a song, what the world needs now is love, 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 right? That's right. So, but they don't know that that's where it is, do they? They've been told, oh, you need this thing or you need that thing and this will make you happy. And people have their addictions because they're really trying to fill themselves up because they don't have God. So this is God. This is the essence of God. And guess what? There's a thread of contact. We all have what is called the thread of contact from our I am presence to God and the great central sun. And you have access to this limitless light of cosmos. And the second principle for this is the second principle for alchemical self-transformation. This picture shows we are all connected to the great central switchboard in heaven. The great central switchboard. Saint Germain called it the great central switchboard. I love it. I was a switchboard operator. I used to have to take those cords and plug them in. Remember Lily Tomlin? Do you ever see Lily Tomlin do the like that? I had to do it. So this is it. Okay, we don't have to plug in. It's already plugged in. But we have to be able to receive that light. It could be really thin or it could be really thick. So accessing the light, this is the big key. How do we access that light? And so we need to be plugged in, which means we need to have our consciousness aware of it, awareness of it. It can be going on, but you're like off there. So this is what we're talking about. The messenger told us once, you know that you are, when you know that you are a son of God, then you know you are an inheritor of all that was known by Gautama, Jesus, by every ascended master in Elohim, and can begin to access the powerhouse of energy that they used for their alchemical demonstrations. Do you know you're a son or daughter of God? Yes? Come on. Yes? All right. So that means you're an inheritor of all that was known by Gautama, Jesus, every ascended master. Well, we're quite there yet. We're working on it, right? But that's you got to hold that vision. Hold it. Limitless energy, limitless wisdom. So what did Jesus change the water into wine? Merlin, who was the embodiment of Saint Germain, put a sword in a stone. How do you do that? And then he taught King Arthur, who wasn't yet king, how to pull it out. What was the alchemy to get that sword out of the stone? These are the alchemical keys that we can discover and use. They were practicing the law of the transfer of energy, and we can do the same thing. The key to alchemy is to know that all of God is within your reach. All of God is within your reach. Do you believe it? All of God is within your reach. That's the key. That's the key. So I want to talk about the law of transfer of energy. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, the messenger, talked about this. And I'm going to read this. She said this quote too. She said, "The law of transfer of energy is vital to the science of alchemy. Without it, it is impossible to create matter. It is a law that nothing can create something." So this is important. We have this energy coming down to us. So we have this connection. We saw the thread of contact, but then there's another energy that is coming from I Am Presence 24/7, and it's our crystal cord. Our crystal cord from our I Am Presence is coming down through our Holy Christ Self, and it's anchored in the heart chakra. This is the pure stream of energy. It's the limitless energy of our I Am Presence. And it lands here. Every moment we're being alchemists and deciding what we will create with this energy. We're really kind of a little bit not realizing that. I mean, we go through our life and, oh God, what am I creating now? I'm not thinking about it. I'm just making my plans and doing it. But in reality, I'm using God's energy all the time. I'm using this energy all the time for creating. Will I be loving and kind? Will I be angry or critical? Will I get upset because there's certain things happening in the room? Will I create a beautiful life, or will I create a life of discord or ugliness? It's an immense responsibility. And you can see why Saint Germain has called us unconscious alchemists, right? So do you want to be an unconscious alchemist anymore? No, of course not. So this is very important to understand. This is flowing all the one. We're making decisions what we're going to do with that energy. If it's positive, it goes out, comes back to us, and it's stored in your causal body, and it's coded according to 7 rays. If it goes out in anger or fear, it can't go up there in your causal body, right? So where does it go? It comes back and it hangs out around in what's called the electronic belt, which is just like your, like a swamp. I was going to say another word. That's around you. Molasses. Like molasses, that's right. That's around you because it's your energy. It was stamped by you. And you're the co-creator with God, and you get to receive the return of what you created. And so it's a feedback loop. It's okay. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. We learn and we grow. So where does the heart come into this? Well, the heart is the place where this energy lands. And the heart is the place where we go when we wake up in the morning or any time when we're disturbed and we go, what do I do? Where do I go? We go to the center of the heart. Now you see this threefold flame here, and it's in the secret chamber of the heart. And has 8 petals. So very interesting is that you have your heart chakra, which has 12 petals. It's pink, but the secret chamber is a secret chamber. You have to go through the heart chakra, kind of a little bit back, and then you get into the secret chamber where the heart is. This is the point of divinity that's living right within you. It's the miracle that God can exist in matter. Each one of us here, all of us here, have this threefold flame burning within the heart, or the potential of that threefold flame right there. And the key to more light is to be able to focus on that threefold flame and to balance that threefold flame. And Saint Germain gave us a mantra, but he also talked about this threefold flame and this secret chamber. And I want to read to you what he said. And as I'm reading, I'd like you to put your hands right here over your heart. And listen to these words. These are the words of Saint Germain describing what's happening right now in your heart. Within the heart, there is a central chamber surrounded by a force field of such light and protection that we call it a cosmic interval. The chamber is separated from matter, and no probing could ever discover it. It occupies simultaneously not only third and fourth dimensions, but also other dimensions unknown to man. Thus, the sacred altar of the heart serves as the connecting point of the mighty crystal cord of light that descends from your God presence to sustain the beating of your physical heart, giving you life, purpose, and cosmic integration. I urge all men to treasure this point of contact that they have with life by giving it conscious recognition. You do not need to understand by sophisticated knowledge or scientific theory the how, the why, and the wherefore of its activity. Be content to know that God is there, and that right within your heart there is a point of contact with the divine, a spark of fire from the Creator's own heart, called the threefold flame of life, which burns as the triune essence of love, wisdom, and power. Each acknowledgement that you give to this flame will amplify the power and illumination of love within your being, producing a new sense of cosmic dimension for you, if not outwardly apparent, then inwardly manifest within the folds of your most precious thoughts and feelings. Neglect not, then, your heart as the altar of God. Neglect it not as the sun of your being. Draw from God the power of love, amplify it within your heart, and then send it into the world at large as the bulwark of that which shall overcome the darkness of the planet, saying. So now we're going to say this mantra that he gave us, and it's on the screen and in your book. Together. I am the light of the heart, shining in the darkness of being, and changing all into the golden treasury of the mind of Christ. I am projecting my love out into the world, to erase all error and to break down every to the light. I am the power of infinite love, amplifying itself until it is victorious, world without end. Let's give it again. I am the light of the heart, shining in the darkness of being, and changing all into the golden treasury of the mind of Christ. I am projecting my love out into the world to erase all errors and to break down all barriers. I am the power of infinite love, amplifying itself until it is victorious, world without end. So you see, the power is infinite. The power of infinite love amplifies itself until it is victorious, world without end. And where does the world start? In your own being, your own whirl of energy, and then it moves out. and it's changing and moving you, and it's coming from that heart. So we're getting in the flow. Maybe anybody here could use more energy. How about more money, more wisdom, more knowledge to accomplish what you need to, or just to get healed, or to have a good relationship, find your twin flame. And you wonder what's holding you back, or why you're not moving more quickly. It could have something to do with getting in the flow. And this figure 8 here, pattern, shows how the light is transferred from spirit to matter through our devotion. We just did it. We actually were doing this because it's devotion. You were devoted. Devotion, deity in motion, devotion. So by our devotion, by going into the heart, we can magnetize and hold more light. And this is the energy that happens. You see yourself in the lower portion of this figure. You see your God presence and your I am presence as the upper circle, and the crossing in the middle is through the Holy Christ Self. Your Holy Christ Self is a mediator. The Holy Christ Self can stand between the absolute purity and light of your I am presence, which is just the same as the light in the great central sun and the great central switchboard. That is pure light. That's what's above you. But it says in the Bible, mine eyes are too pure to behold iniquity. And so what that means is that this absolute law, the I am presence, can't look down on you, because what will happen is all that light will go into where you are, and it almost like it will set it. Put that light into your imperfect creation, your imperfections, right? So you need the mediator of the Holy Christ Self. So the light is mediated. It's like a governor on an engine. It just won't let you go any faster, because can only hold so much light. But this figure 8 flow, it's a little bit like, anybody use those Italian coffee makers, the espresso makers, where you put the water in the bottom and you put the coffee in the center, and then you put it on the stove, and then you turn it on, and what happens? The water goes up to the top. Well, that's what's happening with your devotion. The water of your devotion rises up to your I am presence, and the I am presence, and then it comes back down again. It doesn't stay in the top. It comes back down in this figure 8 flow. So that's why it's important to spend time in meditation and in focusing on God. And even when we pray, we are in this figure 8 flow. And this is a way to have more light. And this is what we need as alchemists, right? More light. That's what we're told. So I have a meditation I'd like to lead you in that is for entering the heart. And so if you'd like to get comfortable and close your eyes and sit either in a lotus position or just be open with your hands open, your feet on the floor. We're going to close our eyes and enter into a time of meditation. And if we could have our music. In the name of the light within, we call forth more light. See yourself surrounded with light. See yourself as a drop in the ocean of limitless cosmic consciousness. Imagine a white sphere, a white sun, spherical, burning sacred fire, living essence. Now visualize yourself entering that sphere. Simply step into that sphere, which is the sphere of infinity. You are free from the limits of time and space. Withdraw your attention from all your extremities. See a beautiful secret room in your heart. Enter that beautiful room and gently close the door to this secret place. See your beautiful, light-filled higher self, your Holy Christ self, sending you love and peace. Now take some deep breaths, and as you exhale, feel yourself gently entering more and more into the sphere of consciousness. You are going into your own Holy of Holies. And as you open your eyes, the inner temple, you see an altar. It's the altar of your own individual being. A most beautiful altar. And upon that altar burns your threefold flame. Pink, yellow, and blue. You bow before the flame. Know and accept that thou art the light now of your I am that I am, of the Holy of Holies. Thou art the living presence of God, God in you as Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and Mother. As that light pours down along the crystal cord from your higher self, your most high self, and the threefold flame is pulsing with that light. Now bow before your higher self, your Holy Christ self, who is within yourself as the priest at your own personal altar of being. The ancient priest who stands guard at your very own altar, your own beloved Holy Christ self or Buddha self. Give love to that presence of God within you and commune with that higher self. And if you have any burdens that you've brought with you, place them upon that altar now, into the sacred fire. Let them go. Surrender them. Now bow before your Holy Christ self, your threefold flame. And it's time to return to the realms of time and space. Gently withdraw your attention from the altar of being and place your attention once more on your heart chakra in the center of your chest. Now withdraw from that place and close the door in the inner temple of your heart. And return your consciousness to the here and now. But remember, always remember, that this place is within you and you can always travel there any moment of the day or night. And when you are ready, please open your eyes. Where did you go? How do you feel? Peaceful? We just transcended time and space. We went into the cosmic interval and you did in another dimension. Do you do that enough in your life? No. We get so busy, don't we? But that's where we need to go on a regular basis. I'm going to continue on here because I have so much to cover and not very much time. But this is the Maltese cross. You have this diagram in your workbook. And I wanted to talk about this because, it says in St. Germain's meditation that you don't have to understand all the science behind it. And we just proved that, didn't we? You didn't have to understand you just went there, right? You knew how to go there. You knew that's where your flame was, and you didn't go off to some other dimension, like to Livingston or something. So this Maltese cross is a diagram that St. Germain gave us to understand the flow of energy. And I wanted to share it with you, and also the understanding of the threefold flame and how the energy flows, because it's very enlightening, because we all could use more energy. So this is what he says is the Maltese cross. Now, before I go there, a cross, and you see, us doing this, I've explained that before. The cross, this represents the energy of spirit coming down the cross, this part of the cross. This represents the energy of matter or the ego, and they come to the point in the heart. Okay? When we make the sign of the cross, it's actually a sealing action. So it's not just a Catholic thing. I know they do it in the Catholic Church. I was Catholic, many of us were. So the Maltese cross is like a cross, but it's more than that, because you can see it's not straight lines. It illustrates the drawing forth of light's energy and consciousness from on high through the north arm. So the north arm is the dark one. And it comes from the north, and it comes into the world of form through the west and the south and the east arms. So if you look at that Maltese cross upright before you, you can see it there. So there's these four symmetrical arms extending from the center out in a triangular shape. They're wide on the outside, giving the appearance of a fanning action. The upper or north arm descending to the center resembles the upper vessel of an hourglass. Actually is a funnel through which the great energies of God, a funnel, the power of God, are descending into the cup or chalice of your being. The wide opening reminds us of the infinite energies of the source of God's and of the source, and of God's ability to convey these to man. Therefore, we know that we need not accept limitation in any form, whether in receiving or giving the limitless light of cosmos. Those are the words of Saint Germain. That is from chapter 3, book 3 of the trilogy of the Threefold Flame. And you can read this yourself. And I've got page 19, but I'm not sure if that's the right page. So the qualification point is always the center of the cross. So that's the heart, okay? It's the center of the heart. And that's where you determine within your heart and mind to qualify that energy. Qualify. Remember, we're alchemists. We're using energy. Qualify it with the purity of divine intent and with the virtues of your Christ identity. Okay? Or we do something else. So I want to show you how. I would like you to stand up for a moment. And let's talk about how this works. So we're going to put our arms like this. So this is the north arm. See, it's like a funnel of energy. And the energy is coming down, right? Right here. But then it goes over to the west. The west. The energy goes to the west, but actually there's also the south. So it goes, I should probably read this, but I think I understand it well enough. So it's going to go in an action from the west to the east, from the blue to the pink, But what happens is, is it comes down into the south arm. So what's the south arm is the yellow. So the yellow is below. So you are the south arm in a way. This is the north. And so what happens is energy comes down. You have to know what to do with it. So you get the power, and the release is in the love, in the love plume, okay? It's the same thing in the threefold flame. Here's the threefold flame. The threefold flame looks like this. I had to turn it around. But the light comes down into your threefold flame, and then it goes to the blue, the yellow, and the pink. Blue, yellow, pink. Actually, yellow first in a way, because if your Holy Christ looking down there, oh God, she's deciding to use that energy for that? You're not going to get a lot of power, right? Okay? But if you have a lot of power, this is why the balance of threefold flame is important, because if you have a lot of power, you go running around and you don't have any sensitivity of the pink or wisdom of the yellow. You see what I mean? So you have to have this balance. So I want you to go and shake someone's hand. Go shake someone's hand. Okay, so what hand did you use? What did you extend to that person? Love. Love. So you can remember, it's the right hand. So it's the right hand. And what was happening? Did you shake hand, Leanne? You shake hands with Joseph. Shake hands with Joseph. Okay, so you're shaking hands with someone. What is going on? You're taking the light and the energy, and it's going over to that person. So that is exactly what's happening all the time inside of you through your threefold flame and through this Maltese cross. I mean, there's much more, and you could read about it in his book. So please be seated. But does that help you understand how this works? The really important to have yellow. Why? You got to know what to do with the light. You got to know what to do with the light. Okay, so the next one, I got, how many minutes do I have? Actually, 3 minutes. I might have to come back in a couple of weeks and finish this up or something. So this is the energy of the chakras. This is what's going on inside of you. Isn't it beautiful? Wouldn't you like to be running on that beach? Well, not right now, but maybe in a few days. And all those chakras are moving. Your chakras are sending and receiving energies for the light of God. The seven rays, they are anchored in. This is how we experience God as love, power, wisdom, service, healing, vision, okay? So I want to go to the next. I have a few minutes to go through this. Light has 12 essential God qualities. Each one of those God qualities that you can see here, which I haven't even given you a diagram because I didn't want you to. This is another study. This is the study of the cosmic clock. Why this is important is because all of the energies of God can be diagrammed and can be, they're qualified as a God quality. So you have the God on the 12 o'clock line, you have the quality of power. Love on 1. I'm just going to go through mastery, control, obedience, wisdom, harmony, gratitude, justice, reality, wisdom, and victory. These are all released through our chakras. But what happens? What happens is that we don't always release them in that way. And that's why Mother Mary has given us the cosmic clock, and that's a whole another study. But I wanted you to have that understanding that you can diagnose where you're misusing the light. Are you misusing the light of God love on the 1 o'clock line in hatred, mild dislike, and witchcraft? Or have you in the past? If you have, we have a solution. And that's the next step. There are special formulas, practices, and rituals you use to access and direct the light for alchemical change in yourself and the world. So it's important to know yourself as God, but you need to know the not self. Because you're recreating. You're a co-creator, but you haven't always created perfectly, correct? So we need to uncreate. This is why we have these rituals. Some of them are to precipitate things. Some of them are a meditation to bring us into contact with God. Prayers, ashram rituals, pranayama, the sacred ritual of the cloud, which we'll be giving on Saturday. Service, serving, and the science of the spoken word. And that is part of the co-creative action that we are involved with, because God said, let there be light. And so we create as God created, using the word. Let there be light. Let there be light. Say it. Let there be light. Let there be light. Let there be light. Light is the alchemical key, is the first of the principles of the 9 steps of alchemy. So we have the science of the spoken word and the violet flame, which we'll be giving during this seminar, which I hope some of you that are on YouTube will join us for. And we have special mantras. Here's one to put into your heart. And we have mantras that bring in the power and the blue and the protection of Archangel Michael. So we'll be giving these. And the 9 steps of precipitation, which you have a list of, and which is in that book. And finally, you can precipitate what you want, even a red Maserati. But why did I put a red Maserati there? Oops, I didn't get my picture. Because somebody was visualizing a red Maserati. He really wanted one. Then he saw it in his garage, and he was visualizing, because this is part of alchemy and precipitation, visualizing this red Maserati in his garage, visualizing. Then he moved. But he didn't move his visualization. He drove by one day, and guess what was in his garage? A red Maserati. So that shows you. But I had another picture to show you. I drew a picture of a yellow house when I first came on staff, and I was making $65 a month, which we did in those days when there was 800 of us, this little house, and I ended up precipitating it. I mean, it was a little bit of unconscious alchemy, but anyway, it's down the road. Anyway, God is good. He blesses you. He's wonderful. Saint Germain loves you. The masters love you. Dare to do. Dare to do this. Have faith. It's the arc, and just make it happen, and start with little steps, baby steps, and then make them bigger and bigger. And don't lose faith, and be part of our community. We would love to have you part of our community, to join us in all that we do and supporting each other on this path. Thank you very, very much for being here today, and we'll be back in a little bit.
4:30.
At 4:30.
love to mighty love, let spirits sing around, while the hill, the dale, and grove with mighty love resound. Or should a sigh of sorrow steal amid the sounds thus echoed o'er, 'twill but teach the God to feel his victories the more.
Well, thank you so much for coming back quickly. That wasn't much of a break, but that's okay. We're getting into the spiral. There's a spiral that happens. We all walk in the door where we are, and we start moving around the spiral and going up and up. And that's what these conferences and these Essentials programs are for. That's why we have them 4 times a year. And because each cycle of the year is for going up another notch. And not only do we go up a notch when we come here or we're online doing these, we bring the planet up. And that's why the planet has evolved to the place it is today, which doesn't look very evolved, but there's a lot going on that we don't see. Joseph might say something about that. He has strong feelings. I'm talking about Joseph Macchio. Most of you know him from his courses and classes, and he's here with his dear wife, Maureen. So welcome, and welcome all of you back. So we are going to go into a darshan now, which is actually the continuation of the lecture by our messenger that she was giving in San Francisco. So she was talking about the masters, and now she's going to talk about Padma Sambhava. And she's going to go into some things about the light and how to hold the light and what happens if you get engaged in certain activities. For some of you, this might be new news. So if it's sort of like, whoa, just put it on the shelf for now, okay? And it's okay. So as I say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and we have to evolve our consciousness and our practices over time. So you're going to be getting to do the golden mantra. And this golden mantra I put in for space clearing, because space clearing is something you hear out there on the internet. You will see how it works. It uses mudras and it clears space. So let's roll that right now.
This is Padma Sambhava, the lotus-born one, the 8th century Buddha, whose coming was predicted by Gautama. He is very much an ascended master today, very much available to you. I stress the term ascended master because the ascended masters have fulfilled the whole of the sacred science of alchemy. They are not in physical incarnation, but they are as close as your heartbeat. Padma embodied in a very difficult time, a time as stressful and foreboding as our own. He gave the golden mantra, and with it we have associated certain mudras. I give this as an introduction to the science of alchemy to show you that the word combined with the use of the hands releases energy. Your temple is the only laboratory you have. Every organ, every part of you is for the release of another part of energy. Every one of your fingers, your heart, your liver, your spleen, your kidneys, every organ in this body is a lesser sun, the heart being the central sun. It is a star in a galaxy, which is your microcosm. And every part of you, every single cell is intended to be radiating light, cosmic light. We are dedicating this body so that we can continue in our seminar, in fact, to practice the science of alchemy. Now, this mantra is written in the books that are in your hands. Right on the very first page, number 2. Amazingly, not only did the lineage of the Buddhas, but also Hermes, the great teacher, Hermes Trismegistus, gave us the same formula. I am that I am. As above, so below. I am that I am means I am here below that which I am above. I affirm that I am the fullness of my inner self in manifestation. What you affirm by the power I am, you become here below. Spiral by spiral, ring by ring, you increase the electronic force field of the aura. When we turn tomorrow evening, it will be on healing and a laying on of hands, exactly for the healing of the electromagnetic field of the aura, which is violated by violence in this and past lives. It is violated, for instance, as Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. There is a forcing of the energy of the chakras today by the taking of drugs, beginning with the seemingly harmless marijuana. We are forcing the release of light and trying to get higher and higher by chemical means. This release of light prematurely and forcing without a higher consciousness and mastery affects the aura. It is also being forced by the rock beat. This is why you see in rock concerts how things very strange may occur, violent actions, because there is so much energy being released from the chakras by that rock beat. This is why girls scream and all kinds of things go on, because there is such a rush of energy in the body. It is the false alchemy of the false gurus, rock music and drugs, to enhance consciousness. And what it does, it causes us to spend the light of the chakras without having control, but they are spent in a downward spiral, taking us down, whereas the science of light releases the light of the chakras gradually in an upward spiral of the ascension, directing us back to our God source and to the central sun. So the celebration then of this Trinity by Buddha and by Hermes. Hermes is the one who said, as above, so below. That's the sacred formula. That's the whole story. Now you have to go out and prove it. As I am above, that is what I must become below. It's like two spheres, a Silex coffee pot, one above, one below. We have to build the pressure to bring down the light. So the celebration of the same Trinity we showed you in the chart occurs through the first three words, Om, Ah, Hum. And the hand mudra is Om. I bow to the light of my mighty I Am presence. I bow to the light of the Christ in my heart. I bow to the light of the Holy Spirit in my temple. Remember, the heart is the altar, the sacred altar of the alchemist. Om, Ah, Hum. Now the Buddhists say that this is the celebration of the three bodies, the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya. The same three I have stated, which they describe as the body of universality, that's the great causal body surrounding your I Am presence, the body of potentiality, all the potential of what you ever shall be is in your Christ self, and the body of realization. Here is where we realize that which is above. So that's what the first three words mean, and it is done with the hands folded, as you see. Now we come to Vajra. This is the earth-touching mudra. Anyone who determines seriously to be an alchemist in the true sense of the word will have to defend his right to be doing what he is doing. Because as you become a vortex of light, you become a fire enfolding itself. And the light is internalizing and beginning to vibrate as you are accelerating. So what gathers around the light? The moths, the insects, the lesser creation. What gathers around the light bearer is world karma. This is an amazing thing, but the vortex of light is there for the purpose of holding the balance and transmuting world karma. So once you start to accelerate, you must have a force field of protection. The whole reason why light bearers and students in this age do not have more mastery and more light is because the law of God states, I will not give to you any more than you can maintain of the light. I will not send you any temptation that is greater than that which you can deal with. I will not send you any karma that is greater than that you can deal with. So as a result of our non-involvement in the light, we don't increase the light and we don't accelerate the balancing of our karma. So the protection of your force field, the protection of your aura, using the science of the spoken word, is a very first step in alchemy. You must have it. Saint Germain's teaching is for the universal age. It doesn't matter what path you come from, what guru, what else you do, what your religion is, or whether you're an atheist. Saint Germain means holy brother. He is a friend on the path. He has a teaching, and he can sponsor your use of the violet flame. This is what you need, and you can combine it with whatever else you are doing. I am very joyous to give the teaching freely, and believe me, I am not looking for a personal following. I am not looking for members for my organization, which does exist. It is immaterial to me. Our books and tapes are all published at the cost it costs us to produce them and get them to your hands. The teaching is the free gift of eternal life. I ask you to take it because God has shown me what things are coming upon the earth, things that I may not repeat or say, because the Ascended Masters will not give dire predictions, because a prediction given may be fulfilled or self-fulfilling by those who believe it. And therefore the only prediction is light. The only prediction is the golden age. But in order to get there and be it, we have to become this light. You know the story of Siddhartha. He was a person just like you and me. Don't always assign to these great revolutionaries that they somehow had something extra special going for them and you can't be like them. It isn't true. They began with no more and no less than you began with or are beginning with. So he pursued a path of asceticism for 6 years. He said, asceticism doesn't work. I have to go and find the cause of human suffering. He sat down in meditation under the bo tree after being fed by a disciple. He prepared to ascend to the plane of his holy Christ self to draw back for us the cause of human suffering. And before he could do that, all of hell broke loose. He was assailed by Mara, the forces of death in hell, all of the temptations of dancing women. And they fiercely said to him, you have no right to be doing what you are doing. You have no right to be seated under that bo tree, which is the symbol of your I am presence. If you look at that chart, it really is a tree of life. So he denounced them all with one use of the mudra, the earth-touching mudra, Vajra, Vajra. And he touched the earth, and all of heaven and the hierarchies of heaven and the angels and the nature spirits confirmed his right to be doing what he was doing. Now this is known as opposition. If you want to be on a true spiritual path, you will have opposition from all sources. Jesus said, a man's enemies shall be they of his own household, which means they come to the household of your own karma and subconscious, often through those most closely tied to you, family, friends, neighbors, associates, people you interact with in business and so forth. When you enter the real path of light, you must be prepared to defend your right to gain your self-mastery, your right to personal Christhood, which is being denied today all over this planet by organized religion, not only by Christianity, not only by Judaism and Islam, but by Hinduism, by Buddhism. All religions today will deny your ability to become the Christ here and now. It is a fierce war that is waged against your victory. Vajra. Now the next mudra and word is Guru. And it is the hand extended in giving. Immediately when you discover the plane of the Christ mind, you see the cause of human suffering is desire, inordinate desire, and all the karma that is made based on it. And you come back to give those 4 noble truths of the Buddha. You must give the teaching you have received. As soon as you receive, you give. Receive, give. You are filled, you empty. You are filled, you empty. So all knowledge bears with it the requirement of the law of alchemy that we must impart knowledge. So this is the hand extended in givingness, and the left hand is cupped. And it is cupped because it is holding the fountain of light in the heart, which is extended through the right hand. It is also below the heart at the level of the solar plexus, showing that all the energies of the desire body are in God control. And this now is the giving mudra. You may put the central fingers back, or you may just do it extended. So that is the word of your Holy Christ Self, Guru, the inner teacher who teaches through you. This is Padma, and it's the as above, so below of Hermes. But it is horizontal. It's a horizontal figure 8, the thumbs and the index finger. So what it shows is that here below, sealing my desire body and solar plexus, is that figure 8. It's the sign of infinity. And it shows that there is a perpetual interchange from alpha to omega, from the sun behind the sun to physical manifestation. We are perpetually receiving light, using that light and sending it back to God over this figure 8 flow. It descends, it passes through us, and if we qualify it correctly with light, it has a momentum that returns. If we don't qualify it correctly, it goes down, 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 and the figure 8 isn't completed, and so because we didn't send it back, we stop the flow of its descent. So we are intended to be that figure 8 and Padma over the solar plexus, sealing those lower bodies. This is the mudra for city. The hand of Christ extended in peace. Peace, then, is a power of your I am presence. You send peace. You may hold the hand down in the manner shown, or again at the heart, showing you are releasing the energy of the heart. When you send forth peace, it consumes by the sacred fire the momentums of war, or any anti-force which may be directed against you. So the power of peace is your defense. So you say city, and you extend the hand, and you may do so before you begin your daily morning meditation or yoga. City, 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 and you create a circle of peace with that word. You can say any of these words over and over again of this mantra, and you visualize an auric field of light around you. You must be set in your aura before you can rise to the heights of the sacred science of alchemy. So this powerful hand mudra reverses envy, jealousy, opposition, hatred, lawsuits, interference with your business, interference with your money, interference with your family, your children, all the problems you have. You have to realize that minds in that astral sea are projecting negative energy at all times. You have to clear your space and say, this is my space, and I'm defending the light where I am. This is the mudra for the syllable hum, and it's the same figure 8, but now it is horizontal. Remember, the cross of Jesus has a horizontal bar, as above, so below, and a vertical bar. This is the sealing of the mudra at the place just below the heart, as above, so below, the I am presence. It is the putting together the index and the thumb and the heels of the palm. So you see you are making a sun whose rays go up and rays go down. The same symbol is the 6-pointed star, the ascending and descending triangles. So we put this mudra all together and we say it now. Number 2. That mantra continues, and it accelerates according as the light accelerates in you. When we pronounce the Om, we are instruments, not originators. When we decree, it is God who decrees in us. God is the Word. You should visualize yourself as the flute of Krishna. You are the instrument. Let us sound the Om and realize it is already sounding. And when we say it, we are opening the valves of our chakras to contain the word that has been sounding from the beginning that sustains the creation. Together.
So we're now preparing for the dictation by Padma Sambhava. So I think we're well prepared, actually, from giving that mantra. And for those of you who would like to continue to give that mantra, on page 23 in the handout booklet, you'll find it along with some other mantras that we will be using during our essentials. So this is the first dictation of our Harvest Essential. It's given by Padma Sambhava. And it's entitled, God is Just, All will receive their just reward. And it was delivered through the messenger, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, on October 6th during the 1995 Harvest Conference. So God has always had messengers. I want to talk a little bit about how these dictations are delivered, for those of you who have never heard one or been in the presence of one before. God has always had his messengers and prophets. For almost 40 years, Elizabeth Clare Prophet had been a messenger of God. Throughout her career, she had received messages from many saints and angels, east and west, who we know as the Ascended Masters. The messenger receives training in the sacred science and technique for connecting with the Ascended octaves. So they have received special training. Certain cosmic keys are hieroglyphs of spirit, or little cosmic computers in a capsule form. That's what are anchored in their physical, emotional, mental, and etheric bodies. They give them instantaneous contact with the Brotherhood any hour of the day or night. For this reason, you can be assured that the teachings and the dictations you receive are absolutely accurate. There is nothing injected in them by their own consciousness. These dictations are received by the messenger, both messengers, over the light and sound rays. They're received over a light and sound ray in several different ways. Sometimes there are letters and living fire that appear before the messenger, or ex cathedra, which means from the mouth of God, just coming from the master. He superimposes his presence over her, or him, electronic presence over the messenger, making the master's voice box congruent with that of the messenger and using it as if it was his own. Sometimes the messenger releases thought forms from his consciousness, so they'll just be thought forms. They also use telepathy and come through the thread of contact that we saw before that connects the messenger to the entire spirit of the Great White Brotherhood. Each method of receiving dictation serves a different purpose. Not only are the dictations releasing instructions and admonitions from the Ascended Master, they're releasing light and their consciousness, almost like a direct transfusion into our chakras and auras. They are uplifting and accelerating our consciousness with the goal to be restored to a direct relationship and contact with our higher self. That's the whole purpose, to restore our own direct contact. They are released on 40 levels of consciousness. A good percentage of the original release of light comes to us again when the dictation is played. What's interesting is that the masters knew everyone who would ever hear their dictation, past, present, and future. Well, not about past, but in the future. So you can be assured they knew that you would be sitting here, and that that the dictations actually have a special meaning for you if this is your first dictation. All of you who are here, or those of you who are joining us on the broadcast and even on YouTube, the first dictation you hear, and this is Padma Sambhava today, whether in person or recording, marks the beginning of your conscious contact with the Great White Brotherhood and the hierarchy of light through the spoken word coming through the messengers. A very high percentage of the time, it will be an indication of your calling. Who is sponsoring you, and the direction your life will take. The content of the message will be significant. The energy of the message will be empowering. And what is most significant about it is how you respond to it. So we have put those dictations on the handout page so you can access them very easily. And we also have keynotes for the dictation. So this dictation is approximately 32 minutes. You're welcome to remain seated during the meditation, music. So we're ready to begin our dictation now.
I receive you unto my heart, beloved. I receive you in the innermost chamber of the heart. Know then that it is the Lord of the world, through the threefold flame of the heart, who does keep the vigil in that secret chamber. As you retire then to that chamber, remember to give obeisance to the beloved Gautama Buddha. He is the sponsor of worlds and of our service. I represent him to you, beloved, for I am the Buddha who has stepped forth in early centuries, the lotus-born one. And I give you the initiations of your Christhood. Do you think it is odd that an Eastern guru should teach you of the path of Jesus Christ? It is not odd, beloved, for you see, I bring you to the place where you can no longer be an offense to him. By your self-mastery over the 5 poisons and your internalization of the golden threads of the 5 wisdoms, you conquer self, and therefore there is never a chance that you might offend the Holy One of God. I come to strip you of rough edges, to pummel you, to bring you to the very center of the sweetness of the Buddhic flame. So, beloved, keep on the way of the gentleness and the compassion of the Buddhas. And when you shall have concluded this course, you will walk and talk with the Master Jesus. He will take you to his sacred heart. He will bring you and exalt you in the very center of being. Know then that many say, Lord, Lord, and profess to love him, to know him, to be Christian. But, beloved, there is more than saying, Lord, Lord, for you to go through ere you can be in his presence night and day and not offend this Holy One of God. I then remind you of your vows to the Lord Christ, your Holy Christ self, and to Jesus. And I ask you to call to me that you might be made whole in all parts of your being, that in that wholeness you might sit at his feet and not be offended in him. This evening I speak to you of magnifying the infinite, magnifying the infinite one. I suggest that when you walk in these mountains and climb steep to the top of Electric Peak and other mountains that have challenged you, I suggest that you take a mirror in hand, that you send to your sun god, the Helios and Vesta of this system. Send the fire of your heart by intonation of the word, by mantra. Receive the rays of the sun upon the mirror and know that they come to you directly from the heart of Helios and Vesta. Then take that mirror and let the ray that has come to it from the heart of the sun be directed into the cause and core of cesspools of darkness in the earth. The power of the sun, when used with a mirror, can ignite fire. So let your mirror ignite the sacred fire of your heart. All of you need greater fire in the heart. Therefore, when you receive that ray from the center of this solar system, direct it first out into infinity, and contemplate as you do this that there is no ending. There is no ending to that reflection. There is no ending to the patterns of your thought, which reach other systems of worlds and farthest stars. Infinity moves on, and you may move on with it by becoming a part of that ray of light. Likewise, you can use a mirror when reciting your decrees, knowing that in the fervor of your heart, by mirroring Helios and Vesta, you can send back to them, multiplied many times, your mantras and decrees, which you have been taught to give to the Father Mother of this solar system. It is well also to take the mirror to look at one's soul in the mirror. How does one look at one's soul? One looks at the light of the eye. One looks beyond the flesh to eternal being, to the seed of light. Know yourself. Measure yourself as best you can, so that when the angel comes to measure you, you will also measure up to the standards of the angels called of God to measure the mankind of earth and the sons and daughters of God. Now then, beloved, if you perceive in your own eye a mote, cast it out. Know that you can engage in self-examination without entertaining one shred of self-recrimination, self-judgment. Know this, beloved. You can empower yourself by mirroring God. Therefore, when you enter into the path of Bhakti Yoga, the path of absolute devotion to the Guru, let your Gurus come forward as you bow to them, bowing to Helios and Vesta and the God and Goddess Meru. Let this practice, which makes perfect, be for you the extending of the light of your heart and a filigree line of that light. Follow it, visualize it, meditate upon it, and know when you have made that contact with Helios and Vesta. Know when the ray returns to you, and keep the circle moving. Do not go a day without this interchange. You know the cosmic interchange comes in the figure-8 flow, and at that nexus you enter infinity. When you achieve this oneness with the Helios and Vesta mantras, the mantras of the central sun, you will understand how the momentum builds and how there is an arc of light that is so powerful that you may never ever be disconnected again from Helios and Vesta. But you must call upon the God Harmony, who keeps the flame of your 6 o'clock line, that you might maintain harmony in your relationship to Helios and Vesta. As you send the missiles of your heart to Helios and Vesta, there is a strengthening of the bond, a tightening. There is a securing of that oneness, until you discover, after weeks and months and years of maintaining this ritual, that the light of God is multiplied magnificently in you by the very spiritual rays of the sun, and that you are multiplying the presence of Helios and Vesta about you here below. Let us then move on in this hour to the nations. The nations are angry. The people are angry. They are angry over many things, beloved. They are angry for the deaths in Yugoslavia. They are angry one with another, Serbs with the Croats, and so on. Know, beloved, that anger is fueled from subterranean levels of the psyche, deep in the unconscious. And when there is something that one sees as a righteous cause for anger, then people allow that anger to erupt about this, about that. And the strife and the division of nations will not stop, beloved, unless you, the keepers of the flame, will stop it. Anger must be consumed, and the source of anger in the momentum of Martian energies, this must be consumed. The people are not up to it, beloved. They would rather vent their anger than control it and consume it with a sacred fire. They have not the path that you have for the most part, yet many seek this path. When you open your heart to Helios and Vesta, you open your heart to every light bearer upon earth. So do this, beloved. The tribes of the earth are indeed angry. There is anger everywhere. Study it nation by nation. See the burdens of Japan. See the burdens of the cult leader. See the burdens of attempts to get even with the system, with society, forming cults, bowing to Buddha, having no heart for his children. How people fool themselves into believing that they are on a spiritual path. Some who are of the dark side do not even admit to themselves that they are of the dark side, and their leaders simply continue to demonstrate for them that they are actually serving a good cause, and that for the sake of a cause they may commit crimes. Crimes are being committed all over the world in the name of justice. People want justice, and yet how is justice meted out? It is meted out portion by portion by the beloved Lady Master Portia with Saint Germain. It is meted out through the violet flame. Let there be an understanding, beloved. We judge not. Every man is his own judge, and the Christ self of each one is also that judge. Remember the words, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Trust in divine justice, and be not dismayed, for you shall see far greater things of darkness in the earth in coming months and years for you to be dismayed about, beloved. Yet let the balm of Gilead heal the divisions. I, Padma Sambhava, have come with healing. I come with healing, and the healing of souls. This can go only so far. For the complete healing of members of society to take place and become brethren, there must be something more, and that something more is illumination. Illumination is the call of the masters, the call from the heart of the inner retreat this summer. Without illumination, there shall be darkness and backbiting and killing and murder, and there shall be injustices heaped upon injustices. Do not be concerned about these events of recent days, beloved. Be concerned rather that you do not defile the living Christ in anyone, that you do not defile that Christ within yourself. come to the point of the heart and know that there is no other resolution but the resolution of the heart. People think they have resolved things because of this and that. Can the courts of the world mete out divine justice? I tell you, nay. Divine justice shall come forth in its time and in its season. But what you must do in this hour is to bring understanding and enlightenment and a profound love of all people for all people. There is no other way, beloved. Attempts have been made to fracture the nation, and the crack in the Liberty Bell is a prophecy of these fractures. You can bind up the broken-hearted. You must bind up the broken-hearted. You must leave divine justice to God. And therefore I ask you to set a standard in your being during this weekend, whereby you shall take a stand for life, for light, for truth, for justice, for mercy, and remove all these things from the scene of a trial of long duration. It is when a man or a woman stands before the lords of karma that then and only then they receive absolute, accurate, divine justice. Is there truly justice in the earth, beloved? Indeed, it is sparse. For if men do not carry the flame of justice in their hearts, how can they apply the rules of justice in their courts, in their systems, in their daily lives, in their governments, in their households? It is up to father and mother to establish what is justice and what is mercy, what is correct and incorrect, and set the example for the child. When this takes place, then all people will have the enlightenment and the awareness that there is an everlasting life and that karma descends not according to man's will or the judgments of juries, but according to God's time, beloved. Then rise above all of this, for you must, for the lords of karma are counting upon you, one and all, new students of today and yesterday, and students of 1,000 years ago. Recognize that this nation must be saturated with violet flame, and illumination must come, and true brotherhood must return, ere the breach be so great that people can no longer speak to one another in the same language. I urge you then to call for the violet flame to consume your own involvement, your own wrenching agony regarding these many, many months of trial. I ask you to rise above this, for this night, you one and all spiritual people of this planet shall be taken before the lords of karma and to the halls of justice, and be God taught concerning karma, reincarnation. Without these two pillars, we are minus the foundational pillars of the church, of doctrine, and of a way of life. Understanding karma, beloved, you can truly say, I know not, for I know not what is the karma of all players in this particular scene. I know not the background. I know only that God is just, and that there is no injustice anywhere in the universe, and yet justice is meted out in justice's time. And this is what all must come to in resolution. Only those who believe in karma and reincarnation can have absolute solace and the comforting of their beings, no matter which way they may think this verdict should have gone. Do you see, beloved, when we trust in God and know that there is no injustice, we understand that justice will be meted out on behalf of all players to this dreadful scene, So then, beloved, if God is just and God is merciful and the scales are in balance with justice and mercy, then it is up to you to teach and preach to the nations as you have been called again and again, that people might understand that there is no reason to have rancor and deep anger and hatred, unmitigated hatred, for God is just, and all will receive their just reward. If you then set the example, millions of people in the earth reading your auras as you gather on the mountain for this retreat will say, the elect of God have understood, have cast this into the violet flame. We shall be liberated also. We shall enter in. We shall know God and be humble and accept his righteous judgments. Thus, beloved, if you set this example and ignite the violet flame for the balancing of the karma of this year from now through the 1st of January, you will render an unparalleled service for millions of people who are so burdened by the increasing weight of karma that descends year upon year. Some seem not to notice that their burden is heavier each day and each year. Others note well, for their burdens have been so heavy that they have passed from the screen of life by the very weight of a karma that they knew not how to transmute by the violet flame. I think that you all remember the first day of the year of 1995. The messenger remembers well of the descent of a greater heaviness and a greater heaviness. This year has taken that road, and many have been troubled, and many have been slaughtered still in the situation in Yugoslavia. Blessed ones, therefore I tell you, if you who are the elect of God elect then to give violet flame as often as you can and will, and make it a priority over other pastimes, you will see that the karma of this past year has been consumed. And if many more work harder, you can still transmute previous years that have not been entirely balanced in the situation of the people's karma. I tell you, this is the easy way. If you do not espouse it, as I have suggested, you will find a greater heaviness when the first of the year of 1996 is upon you. When an avalanche descends, it is too late to clean it up. Those who know the will of God and his law understand that they can turn the avalanche back up the mountain and transmute it before it covers the villages below. See this, beloved. There is a time when energies are in flux, and when you who understand alchemy can apply those 9 steps of precipitation, and you can avert much disaster and much darkness. The Great White Brotherhood is counting on the souls who have lived for thousands of years, who know well what they must do in this hour. Yes, the lords of karma are counting upon you, beloved. For if there is not intercession on behalf of the fiery-hearted ones here in the earth, then the karma will continue to mount. The strife will continue, the division, the gangs, the street wars. And those individuals who are disenfranchised, have not been taught, do not have skills, do not even know how to read or write, having simply been pushed through the system. These things will get worse, beloved. I tell you, do not be so naive as to think they will just go away, or they will not come to Montana. Have you not already had teenagers and others come to your land with hate signs, desecrating the shrine of St. Anthony, still having bigotry taught to them by their parents against the church and a way of life? Yes, these things are not coming to Montana. They are already here. You have heard of those who, if they are not godless, are about to lose their God flame. Yes, those who have turned against the Jews in Billings. Blessed ones, do not think that you are spared. These events that have affected many towns in this state will only mushroom without the intercession of all of you and the many whom you will teach in giving the judgment calls and calling for the binding of the dweller on the threshold. For that dweller on the threshold is loose and running wild in many, many souls of young people in America. Nations of the earth are appalled at what is going on in this country. Therefore, beloved, I ask you in closing to be watchmen upon the wall of the nation and to recognize that if certain things are not stopped, they will be as a yeast expanding, a yeast that is put like the leaven, that is the leaven that a woman hid in 3 measures of meal. It leavens the whole lump. The leaven may be an evil yeast. The leaven may be a good yeast. But beloved, the leaven always expands and increases what it is put in. Therefore, be mindful. Be mindful, you who deal directly with teens and those children who are not able to make it through high school with skills to move on in dignity. I ask you, enter in to America and restore this nation to the place where the capstone of the pyramid may remain and raise all civilizations. I commend you for your service. I ask you to accelerate and not forget, beloved, that it is you, individually, through your individual I am presence, who will make the difference as to whether this nation will come together at a new level, self-transcending, moving into an etherealization of consciousness, whereby they might bring heaven to earth. This is your calling. This is your job. I bow to the light within you, and I ask you to pray for the souls of Tibetans murdered. In the name of Jesus Christ, I seal you.
So we've heard from Padma Sambhava. Some of that dictation was very relevant for the times, and some of it was very timeless. And of course, all it was a release of light into our chakras. So we're ready to seal for the day, or for the afternoon, that is. And I want to thank you for all who have joined us online and here in person, and those of you who are on YouTube with us. We are going to have a dinner break, and we invite those who are here to join us at our special table in Maitriya's room. You can follow Mary Ann, can show you where that is. You can go through the line and then we'll join you there. It's a time that we can answer questions and just talk and get to know each other. So won't you please rise? I'm going to make a sealing invocation. In the name of the light of God that never fails, that burns within our hearts, in the name of our own Holy Christ, Self and Mighty I Am Presence, we call to you, beloved Padma Sambhava, to seal now the energy of this dictation this afternoon. Seal each one in the perfection of their own God identity, in the understanding of their own inner alchemy, and in their own divine plan. Protect them now, O God, and seal this session in the name of the Father, the Mother, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you all.